What is up, YouTube? Doing a recap video of the final of the Pacific Nations Cup between the Lakapi Samoa and the Flying Fijians. A big game for both of them. I believe both teams had an opportunity to win if they come out on top. Maybe Fijians didn't; they were playing more for pride. But Samoa definitely were in the box seat to take it. Um, Samoans hadn't beaten Fiji for I think it's been 8 years. I think 2014 was the last time we were able to win against them. So it's been a long time coming for us to be able to try and get over the Fijian outfit, a very strong Fijian outfit. Um, so to the game. Again, I caught the game late. By the time I caught up with it, it was 15 minutes into it, and we were already up 3-0. So I was like, okay, cool. We started off a little bit more positively than compared to last week when I caught the game late and we were already down 6 points. But that was quick to change. The Fijians, they were able to get on top of us, and we couldn't really we weren't able to settle in the first half at all. The Fijians, while they weren't quite cutting us to pieces out wide, the way I thought that they may have, that set piece, particularly the scrum, they were. It was the story of the day, pretty much. Our scrum up until the last 10 minutes of the game, I'm not gonna lie, was atrocious, and it was pretty much a given penalty every time we went to scrum for the Fijians, and they were able to capitalize on that on the first half by scoring 2 tries and a penalty, and would go into the half up by 17-3. We looked like you know, we weren't quite all the way out of it, but it was tough. It was very tough sledding in that first half. Frank Lomani for the Fijians was the guy I noticed. He looked world class and was involved in both tries, scoring the second one. There was another try that we were lucky that the last pass didn't go to hand. But that was another try he was almost try that he got involved in. But that guy, I don't know, maybe he's one of the best scrum halves in the world, but he looked fantastic today, and he was definitely the standout player on the Fijian side of the ball. So we went into the sheds, like I said, down 17-3, but we weren't all the way out. So we were able to regroup in the second half, thank Christ, and yeah, it was a different story. We scored first, I believe it was a penalty, and then we scored a try, or it could have been the other way around. Off that driving maul, again, we utilized the maul from the line out to mass effect. That's been pretty much the story of the tournament. It's been a two sides of the coin for our set piece. One hand, our scrum was struggling, but on the other hand, our lineout has been world class, and we've been able to utilize that as our main strength. We were able to be stifling enough in defense. We didn't allow them to cross over and score again over the try line. I believe they only scored a penalty in the second half, but we were able to capitalize on most of the opportunities. Sometimes there was an opportunity where I think it was Elijah Noor who dropped the final pass in the end that could have been a try in the later stages of the game, but we were able to make up for that by scoring another try off that line out rolling maul, and that was Seilala Lamb. He scored 2 tries, and I will get on. I'll get onto about him a little bit later in the video, but we were able to get back into the game. We took the lead in the later stages of the game, and the Fijians had one last opportunity to take the game away from us, but we were able to stifle them in the end, turn the ball over, kick it out of bounds, and we were able to come away with a victory. So it started off looking pretty bleak, but we were able to show some guts and some fortitude in the second half and take away the win and walk away with the Pacific Nations Cup trophy, which is something I don't believe we've won since the last time we beat Fiji in 2014. could have been even earlier than that. But it's been a long time coming, and again, more positive signs for Samoan rugby going forward. So very happy, very pleased that we were able to come away with the win. My players of the game, Seilala Lamb, the guy I mentioned earlier, even though he came on in the second half, Ray Nguia was the guy who started. He was able to make an immediate impact, scored 2 tries, was able to direct that driving maul well the way he did in the first game against Australia A. So kudos to him. Theo McFarlane, he was a guy who was our main man in the lineout. Usually it was Chris Vui, but he was the guy who was the main go-to option. And from memory, I only believe we lost 1 lineout from our own throw, and he was the guy who was able to take the ball in and make sure that there was no miscues. He did well in the ruck area, the ruck areas and that, and in his support play. So he was a guy that one of my followers mentioned in the comments section that played well in the last game, and I definitely took note this game. So he was a guy who definitely stood out for the Lakapi Samoa. Ronnie Iona and D'Angelo Luila, I mentioned one of the keys to victory was to kick it well against the Flying Fijians. Otherwise, in broken play, we all know what they're capable of, and they did just that. Iona, I hope I'm pronouncing it properly. He capitalized on all the penalty kicks that we got. I believe maybe he might have missed 1 shot, or he might have been 100% all day, but he did well in that department. But D'Angelo Luila, a guy I've been following for a while now, ever since I saw him play. I believe it was 2014 or 2015, where 2014. He was part of Samoa's under-21 team, and he was a standout then. And I've had my eye on him for a while. He's taken a bit of he took a bit of a break from the international scene, I believe, but he's been able to come back. He was playing a little bit of Super Rugby. He's been involved in the New Zealand domestic league, the NPC, I believe they call it. And seeing him back in the Samoan team and playing pretty well in the midfield, happy for him. And the way he kicked and pinned them back in their territory, as well as when we got the penalty and kick us up into a position to utilize that driving maul. So he gets a game ball, as well as Iona. Like I said, he played well. And Tau Matini, he didn't get the start, and Nari did, but when he did come on, he played pretty well, a lot better than his last game. So kudos to him. And who else stood out? Henry Stowers, when he came on, I think he made a bit of an impact. Well, Jordan Talfor, he played well, and I thought he got a little bit of a rough treatment when it came to when he was trying to turn the ball over at the ruck and contest. I thought he was a little unlucky, to be honest, but he was a nuisance for most of the day when it came to that area. And I thought he did pretty well. So again, I'm happy with the effort. To come away with the win is a big thing. It's good to see Samoan rugby starting to trend upwards ever since we've come under new management, new coaching. Shout out to them. Head coach Seilala Mapasua. I saw Henry Schwager is there. Coventry, the forwards coach, as well as Tanu Manga. I've seen him. He's been getting involved too. So kudos to everybody. My only gripe, like I said, is we need to get that scrum corrected. It's, that it was bad for most of the tournament. Not going to sugarcoat it. It was pretty terrible. And if we're going to scrum like that against the bigger teams, they're going to treat us just the same way, if not worse, how Fiji treated us today. But outside of that, across the board, I give the team an A+. I'm happy, I'm pleased, and it's good to see that Samoan rugby is, as I said, trending upwards. Another shout out to the Montesino. They had another victory, a big one, against the PNG women's team. And I believe it was 91 or 93-0. It was a bit of a beatdown. But shout out to them. I wanted to give them their kudos and flowers too. So big ups to the women. So wins across the board. I want to thank everybody who's been tuning into my videos throughout the Pacific Nations Cup. This is my first time back into rugby for I haven't done a rugby video in 7 years, I believe. This is what brought me to the YouTube game, and that was back in 2011 for the World Cup. That was my first foray into making YouTube videos, and I was a stumbling young mess. It's funny going back to those videos now and watching them, and yeah, it was my first time, but it's been a long time coming, and it's been a lot of fun doing this. Tai Lava Far, leave your comments down below, leave a subscribe and a like if you want to. I would really appreciate that. But yeah, it's going to be very intriguing and interesting watching how Samoa progresses moving forward and towards the next World Cup, which I think is next year. Not quite sure. Anyways, look, I'm Afakasi Raider. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time, maybe in November when they start playing again. So until then, take care. Tai lava and peace.